फास्टेस्ट क्रिकेट स्कोर अपडेट्स या सबसे डिटेल्ड स्टैट्स,
क्रिकेट के अंदर बाहर की खबरें
या हेल्दी डिबेट्स,
सबसे एक्यूरेट एनालिसिस
या फैंस का क्रेज, सबके लिए एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म, क्योंकि क्रिकेट मतलब क्रिकेट नेक्स्ट।
Hello everyone, you're watching Cricket Next. I'm Surama Kaushik and today we are here with the special program on Hardik Pandya's comeback. And for all the details, I have with me K. Srinivasrao, Network 18 Group Sports Editor, Sahil Malhotra and Tas Rizvi. Hello gentlemen, good to see you all here in this live session. Sahil, first of all, you did a great story on Hardik Pandya's comeback today. You mentioned quite a lot of details over there. You first tell us what's the current update on Hardik Pandya, how's he been doing health-wise, and what is this 18-week special program that you mentioned in your story?
No, see, first thing, it's not something new. It's not something different. It's not something which is being implemented only for Hardik Pandya. And it is not something which hasn't been implemented in the past. It's a kind of a tried and tested program where the NCA, in consultation with BCCI's medical team and physios and the people who kind of give you a lowdown of the workload management of a particular player, devise a program which is in sync with the needs and the larger goals of a particular player. So larger goal and the big picture is kind of are the kind of keywords here, because Hardik right now, the larger picture is to keep him at the peak fitness and endurance levels going forward for a very important window, which begins from the 2024 T20 World Cup in the West Indies and the USA and goes on till the 2026 World Cup in India. So I think those 2 years are very important, and this 18-week program, which is kind of curated cautiously to meet the needs of Hardik's body. There are different things in the program. You have strength training, functional training. You might have a swim session, a rest and recovery session. That data is real time shared with people at the NCA, people who are closely monitoring how his body is reacting. And then there are changes being done on a real time basis. So it is not something ki boss ek 18 हफ्ते का आपने plan बना के भेज दिया and you follow it to the T. No, there are changes, there are modifications, there are improvisations, and all things are directed, to ensure that a player is at the peak fitness level. Something which was done for someone like a KL Rahul, Shreyas Iyer, Jasprit Bumrah, people who have been away from the game in the past for a long period of time. So keeping their goal in mind. So as I wrote that, for KL Rahul, the goal was wicket keeping in subcontinent heat, then batting after that at number 5. So all his drills, regimes and routines were devised in such a manner. Then someone like a Shreyas Iyer, explosive fielder, athletic, needs to put in those short sprints in, explosive runner between the wickets. So his program is modeled around that. Then you have Jasprit Bumrah, who kind of, carried the weight of Indian bowling throughout the World Cup. Goals at different phases of the game, and then we all saw the kind of heat which we saw in games like Chennai. It wasn't easy for fast bowlers to be out there in the middle, and Mumbai too. Very hot and humid in that game against New Zealand, if I'm not wrong. So again, different conditions. So you kind of fine tune your bowlers, fine tune your athletes with those programs. And for Hardik right now, this was the window. So what would he have done had he not been, on this program? He would have been one or the other South Africa series, either the ODIs or the T20s, depending when he would have gotten that green signal. And yes, it's important to put it on record that Hardik it's not that he's not fit right now. He's fit right now. So he would have been available for, at some point of the South Africa series. अगर वो नहीं खेलता तो Afghanistan T20s in January, he was a certainty to be there and probably to also lead had Rohit Sharma become unavailable after the long South Africa tour where he was featuring in the red ball setup and the two tests, and probably just to prepare for the England test series which follows right after the Afghanistan T20s. So Hardik now has earned himself another window to kind of work on his fitness, to kind of extend his fitness levels to a new high, and probably be in top shape when the IPL begins before the World Cup, because those will be at least 14-15 important games for him, for his body to react and adjust to the grind of cricket again. So that will be an important period, and this is what Hardik is up to right now. And Joe, abhi the chatter which is going around that he's injury prone, that prone is a very convenient word which we use for cricketers right now. We called Jasprit Bumrah injury prone without even reading into what his injury was. The lower back injury. It was a career threatening injury which he came back from. Similarly for Shreyas Iyer. So before labeling cricketers as injury prone, we need to understand what their body is going through. And Hardik probably, Abhi aap just keep the batters aside, bowlers aside. He is taking double the load because of his fast bowling, batting and fielding. all together. So he's putting three skills on display in every given game. So the body is going through a lot, and he has had a history. So I wouldn't call it injury prone, but he has had a history of injuries, which is probably making people very confused and worried regarding his longevity. But I would say that people in the BCCI, top trainers, physios, medical team staff, they are working round the clock to ensure that India's premier all-rounder is in top shape for the window I just mentioned, the 2024 and 2026 T20 World Cups.
Yes, so Sahil has clearly mentioned here what this 18-week program will include for Hardik Pandya and everyone who's joining us. If you have any questions around that, please shoot those questions in the chat box. So I'll be happy to take all those questions for you. Taus has a question, Sahil. Yes, Taus.
I mean, you just said that okay, injury prone. Injury prone is something that is like he has had a history of a lot of injuries. He comes and goes. I mean, he's not a regular player in the side because of his injuries. So which you have cleared. But then, what is the goal? You said 2024, 2026. Is that a long term? I mean, that looks quite a short term goal. What is exactly how BCCI wants to fit in Hardik Pandya, and what if an injury occurs again if he steps onto two other ball on the field while playing in the IPL? So this injury keeps on coming. But then, are there any preparations for the next Hardik Pandya, or have they identified next Hardik Pandya? I mean, there must be a backup plan as well. You can't depend on Hardik Pandya, somebody who has had a history and his body has been quite, he has an athletic body, but then he's quite weak compared to like what other cricketers are strong. This guy is a thin guy, but then he will keep on having those injuries. But then what is the future plan? Is there any backup plan to it?
So, Tausbhai, first thing first, a lot of people continue to ask this question. I'll be very clear. If we are kind of still searching for the next Hardik Pandya, we are wasting our time. Because, it took us one Kapil Dev to keep searching for another Kapil Dev. We haven't still found another Kapil Dev. Hardik Pandya, all in his rights, he's a fantastic white ball all-rounder, but yet to kind of, have that career in red ball. So, wo Kapil Dev, Hardik wala debate abhi tak sort nahi hua hai. We'll be kind of foolish to kind of keep looking for another Hardik Pandya. We need to find that all-rounder, because who bowls in this country at 140 clicks and gives you the purchase with the bat which he does and feels like he does? Now, I'll kind of respectfully disagree with you when it comes to, Hardik's fitness and body. If you just compare the Hardik Pandya of 2015 and 2016, that was a lean boy. He had no muscle mass on his body. But if you look at Hardik Pandya, this Hardik Pandya, I saw him very closely during the World Cup for the first 4 games. Him training, wearing those shorts and those skins, he had proper muscle on his body. He's a much stronger version of himself. And I think that is something which he has realized after that bout with back injury, that, being lean is fine. But that brittleness in the body and that weakness in the body can only be eradicated by after putting that lean muscle mass. So, wo mota nahi hua hai. He has added a lot of muscle mass to his body. Even during one of his previous interviews, I think I saw at GT's channel during one of the IPL, I think first season or second season, where he kind of spoke at length about adding muscle mass to his body, lifting weights and doing all those things, because he needs that muscle to avoid from your bones from breaking down. You need to wrap good amount of muscle around your body, and that is exactly what Hardik Pandya has done. And when it comes to stepping on the ball, I think we kind of were very harsh on KR Rahul too when he pulled I think his hamstring, quadricep muscle while running during the IPL. So Tausbhai, those are the injuries you can't control. Those are freak injuries. Anything can happen. If you're batting and you kind of inside edge one delivery onto your forearm and you get injured, you snap your forearm, you don't play for the next 4 months. That's unfortunate, right? That's a freak incident. That's a freak accident, I would say. What happened during that game against Bangladesh, I don't think he could have done anything differently. Ya agar uska fitness level yahan hota, wahan hota. He's clearing the necessary tests. He's clearing the yo-yo tests. He's a supremely fit athlete. It's just unfortunate that he's picking up, incidents and injuries like these in his career so far. And except the back injury, I think वो back injury के चलते हमने एक माहौल बना दिया. वो श्रेयस अय्यर बोलता है ना, मेरा शॉर्ट बॉल का सबने माहौल बना रखा है. वेट में नहीं जा रहा, but अभी हार्दिक का एक that mood has been created, that he's conveniently picking and skipping games. It's not that. If you look at the number of games he has played ever since coming back from back injury, June 2022, India International Arena, he was back after the IPL. दोनों IPL के अंदर वो 17 और 15 गेम रिस्पेक्टिवली खेला है, 16 और 15 गेम रिस्पेक्टिवली खेला है. दो बार टीम फाइनल के अंदर पहुंची, he was right there with the team. One game here and there he skipped, but that was because of workload management. You are traveling length and breadth of the country, you know, every player needs rest. So that was the case with him. उसके बाद BCCI decided not to send him for the Ireland games, if I'm not wrong, where Jasprit Bumrah was your T20 captain, but he was very much there, part of the side for the West Indies series. So it's not that he's conveniently skipping games, he's probably managing his body better, and that has to be the way forward. If you are arguing the fact that, you know, Hardik has not played so many games jitna baki log khele hain, then why are we not questioning someone like a Rohit Sharma or a Virat Kohli? Because they pick games like at the drop of a hat. अभी दोनों ने अपने आप को अनअवेलेबल कर दिया for South Africa ODIs and T20s, and then there are calls that they'll just walk into the 2024 World Cup squad. That shouldn't be the case with them too, right? Because we just can't be conveniently arguing stuff for one player and then having different metrics and different parameters for a different player. That's what I personally feel. And Hardik का इंजरी हिस्ट्री रहा है, अब उसको कंसर्न मत बनाइए. मतलब दैट्स माय रिक्वेस्ट, यू नो, वी शुड जस्ट काइंड ऑफ बी लिटिल less harsh than we have been. And I know where we all are coming from. We all want that next Hardik Pandya. A lot of people were debating with me on Twitter since afternoon that, you know, Atit Shet को खिलाओ, मूरा सिंह को खिलाओ, शिवम दुबे को खिलाओ, वेंकटेश अय्यर को खिलाओ. मेरा सबको एक ही रिक्वेस्ट था, there cannot be a Hardik Pandya right now. अगले 5 साल अंडर 19 सर्किट में भी एक मुशीर खान आता दिख रहा है, पर वो भी लेफ्ट आर्म स्पिन फेंकता है बॉस. तो मीडियम पेस फेंकने वाला और ऐसा बैटिंग करने वाला मुझे अभी from my years of following domestic cricket and even the under 16 so closely, I don't see any player coming for the next 5 years. So he's your best bet. Wrap him in cotton wool, make him play the best of the games which are required to, you know, end that ICC trophy wait. And that window is between 2024 and 26. You just can't plan for a Hardik Pandya for, say, a 2027 World Cup right now. That's too big a goal. That's too big a window. बिकॉज उसके बीच में आप सोचो, आप आईपीएल भी खेल रहे हो, चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी का भी बात आएगा, फिर जब वो सब कुछ खेलेगा लोग बोलेंगे भाई टेस्ट क्यों नहीं खेल रहा. अच्छा, ये टेस्ट नहीं खेल रहा क्योंकि इसको पैसा बनाना है आईपीएल में. ऐसा नहीं होता ना. उसको मालूम है उसका बॉडी कितना लोड ले सकता है, कितना क्रिकेट खेल सकता है, और उसका ग्राइंड और उसका वर्कलोड इज मच मच मोर देन समवन लाइक रोहित शर्मा, विराट कोहली, केएल राहुल. उसको बॉल भी फेंकना है ना, तो इतना नहीं हो सकता. दैट्स व्हाट माय रीडिंग ऑफ द मैटर इज.
Yeah, and Sahil, I remember last year, you know, there were reports that Bumrah might return to the IPL and then he'll continue to play for Team India. And at that time as well, a lot of fans said that, see, Bumrah is now fit for IPL. So whenever, you know, such key players get injured and then there are reports that they might return to IPL. So people think that just because they want to earn money, so they'll come back to IPL. And you know,
Suramya,
they don't think
on the Bumrah bit, you know, I think I clearly remember former chairman of selector Chetan Sharma kind of conceding the fact that they tried to rush Bumrah back to action. There was a period where Bumrah was in the squad. There were talks that he'll return for the Border Gavaskar Trophy. They were trying to rush him back in. But that approach got us nowhere, right? You have to be patient. You just can't. It's not a magic wand which you can just spin and expect players to be fit overnight. Even a batter, just a specialist batter like Shreyas Iyer had to undergo that grind, had to, you know, put in those sessions and the hard yards at the NCA. Similarly for KL Rahul, and Hardik Pandya is no different. It's just that his body needs more attention than probably most of the cricketers going around. That's how I look at it.
Right. You know, Srini, after Sahil's story, I was reading quite a few comments on social media, a lot of tweets out there that are saying that, you know, why this special treatment's been given to Hardik Pandya, why BCCI and NCA are treating him so differently and so specially. They're doing this 18-week program and all. Now, Sahil has already, you know, cleared all the clouds on that, you know, that this program was charted for other players as well, as he rightly mentioned about KL Rahul and others. But Srini, I want to know from you, how do you see BCCI and NCA's role in this one, in terms of workload management and in terms of, you know, dealing with a player who's, you know, dealing with an injury?
You know, let's get one thing very clear. Doesn't matter what level of cricket you're talking about, international cricket, gully cricket, school cricket, no player likes to be injured. If you have played sport ever in your life, any sport, who would like to be injured and be sitting away from action? कोई प्लेयर ऐसा नहीं होता जिसको करना है. But at the same time, the fact of sporting life, the fact of playing a sport is if you are playing one, you will get injured. chances are that you have not experienced it. The only chances of not experiencing something like this is you never having played a sport.
Yeah.
अगर आप खेले हो तो आप इंजरी सह के लिए हो, इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं. And when injuries will happen, obviously breaks will happen. Tell me another cricketer who's not gone through breaks. So people point out at a time when they give examples of cricketers from the past decade, to cite fitness. Look at the quantity of cricket that those people were playing vis-a-vis the quantity of cricket that is being played now across formats. Look at the irrelevance of cricket. Like, for example, Rohit Sharma, let's say, is half fit, but there is an important series against Australia coming up, test series. Okay, he will want to go out of his way to try and see if he can be fit in time for that series, because he knows it's an important series, because he knows the points that he will earn out of that series rests on whether India will qualify for the World Test Championship or not, right? So there is something attached to the format that you are playing, that a win or a loss is directly affecting your chance to play a WTC final. This bilateral T20 series against Afghanistan, okay, is there a direct repercussion attached to this? If you are playing this series, if you are winning this series, are you qualifying for the 2024 or the 2026 T20 World Cup? You're not. Are you playing the finest T20 opposition? Probably you're not. Are you kind of putting yourself out there against the finest T20 attack? No, you're not. Okay. Then, now hold on to this thought. I'll come back to this. On the other hand, there is a lot of commentary, a lot of narrative around workload management. Okay, workload management, the term is not an India created term. It's a term that's a global one. Footballers play professional football, top level football, for continuously non-stop for 7.5 months in a year. Okay, unforgiving football, right? NBA, then look at the number of matches NBA hosts every year, record number of matches. NFL, these are top leagues, and these fancy words that you come across, about managing players' workloads and injury timelines and blah blah blah, is all a result of evolved sporting mechanisms and sporting ecosystems from around the world. We are just about experiencing it. Until 10 years ago, cricket was a lazy sport, and Arjuna Ranatunga could have finished his lunch, walked out post lunch, and fielded in the slips, and spent the whole day playing cricket. I mean, no disrespect to Arjuna Ranatunga, but the fact is, imagine Arjuna Ranatunga being asked to go through a yo-yo test. वो तो नहीं हुआ ना. I mean, like, let's be practical. So cricket has changed. Now, when cricket has changed, in the Mamulak. Yeah, I mean, it's a long list if you were to go and construct one. And I think Sahil made the argument. I don't need to repeat it. Sahil has made an argument in terms of talking about let's say a Hardik Pandya and what does he bring to the table. Now, we don't need to go on and on about what Hardik brings to the table as a cricketer. It's pretty well understood what he brings to the table. I mean, I'm going to the extent of saying that who knows, we could have probably won the World Cup final had he been there in the middle order. The final. Yeah, we missed him. So that's the quality of the all-rounder we are talking about. ये इसको छोड़ो कि वो कप्तान बनेगा नहीं बनेगा, बात की बात है. वो टीम में आएगा, of course आएगा. Do you need a series against Afghanistan to prove whether he's going to come back in the team? Obviously not. So what does Hardik need? He just needs half a dozen very good matches to kind of be in the right kind of form, touch, before the World Cup. That who is likely to give him, Chennai Super Kings or Rajasthan Royals or Afghanistan? Tell me, where exactly is he kind of likely to face more competitive bowling attacks while playing against Lucknow, Chennai, Bangalore and RR, or while playing Afghanistan? Right? South Africa, could he have been fit in time to go? Yeah, he would have, but he would have had to give away on high performance training, and he would have had to move to skill based training. People don't understand very simple concept. Training, when you're break time train, when you're away from cricket, the kind of training that you go through is not when you are kind of in the middle of a battle or you're preparing for a battle. Likewise, in the run up to a series, the training that you do is not exactly what you do when you are close to actually the series beginning, so
Mm.
there is something which is specifically skill set in terms of how you prepare keeping the matches that you're going to play, those you prepare, and you on your fitness keeping matches that you're going to play in mind. So that's skill based training, skill set training. Then there is something called peacetime training. Whatever happened to the famous military saying, the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war, right? And
Yeah.
we talked about it, that Hardik has been getting injured, which means he's been bleeding in war, maybe a little too often. Who knows? Although
Mm.
statistics do not say that. If you look at the numbers, I don't think he's. I think, has he missed enough white ball cricket? I don't think he's missed enough white ball
No,
cricket
he
after
hasn't.
he's come
Yeah.
back. After he's come back from the surgery, the back surgery. Now, if he doesn't use this period, obviously, see, let's not be dumb about it. I hate it when people say IPL khelna hai bas, paise kamana hai bas. I mean, ridiculous people. They really don't understand anything about sport, and where it is moving on, what kind of consumptions are happening. So I'm not going to give too much importance to where
Mm.
these quotes and comments are coming from. Let's stick to the fact that IPL wo khelega, that he can't avoid. Every big cricketer who plays the T20 format will play the IPL, especially before a tournament as important as the World Cup. So when
Yeah.
does Hardik take a break to concentrate or to focus on larger issues? Muscle training चाहिए होगी, weight building चाहिए होगा, who knows? There might be certain non-skill based training that he's going through. I was talking to somebody in the BCCI. Unfortunately, I can't name people. you know they have curated a day-wise program for Hardik. Like today is yoga. Do you
Okay.
know that among the day-wise programs that he has, there is one day of just not doing anything, reading a book and listening to music. It's part of his program. He has to do it, whether you like it or not. तुमको गाने सुनने हैं, सुनो बैठ के,
Yeah.
choose करो क्या गाने सुनने. So I'm saying that the next whatever number of weeks, 15, 18 weeks, I've been curated for. There is a team that is, मतलब वो लोग क्या बेवकूफ हैं? वो they're like the doctors, the physiotherapists, the trainers, the psychologists, and everyone
Yeah.
working with them. They're useless. They don't know where they're coming from. Science in sport is useless. These guys, and some guy sitting on Twitter understands, oh, क्या बात कर रहा है यार, अफगानिस्तान के साथ नहीं खेलेगा, कैसी बात कर रहा है? So,
Yeah.
it's a futile space and argument to get into. So the point being,
Mm.
there are some very, very responsible people, well-educated people, people who really understand what is supposed to be done, who are working with Hardik.
Mm.
They've curated a program for him, based on which he's taken a break. He's decided not to kind of make a match appearance now, rather use
Mm.
this window, use the IPL to come back into form, use better oppositions to come back into the kind of touch that he needs to be in, use that, focus that on, go to the World Cup. Meanwhile, it's not his problem whether BCCI wants to make him the captain or not make him the captain. That is BCCI's problem.
Yeah.
उसको कप्तान बनना है तो क्या कप्तान बन के आ जाएगा? कप्तान बनने के कप्तान नहीं. Ask that question to Ajit Agarkar, to Jay Shah, to ask those people these questions. Don't ask Hardik.
Yeah.
Hardik has decided to take a break because he's been asked to take a break, because a program has been curated for him, because there is by the way, there is no other format outside. See, Test cricket is very important over the next 2 years. Test cricket is extremely
Yes.
important, because we will begin a cycle that we saw what took place between 2018 and 2021, right? Those 2.5 3 years is when we went to South Africa, we went to England, we went to Australia, we went to Australia again, we came to England, and then we ended it with a series in South Africa, which we couldn't win again, right? So it's kind of the destination where we want to go and conquer South Africa. So, but we start with South Africa again. We go to Australia. Next year we go to England. Then again the cycle reverses, right? And this will eventually end up towards the next WTC cycle. Likewise, the other format that is going to be important is the T20 format. Because next year, immediately after the IPL, you are playing a T20 World Cup. And then
Yeah.
very big ICC tournament is again in 2026 when India hosts the T20 World Cup again. Right? I'm not going to give much credence to the 2025 Champions Trophy. खेल भी लिए तो 3 मैच है. It's like you can. I almost see the way the tournament is going. I almost see India sending a B team. I really don't see any value there. So coming back to the point, the T20 World Cup, those two T20 World Cups is when you'll want to win an ICC tournament. जिसके लिए आप इतने भूखे हो, all that appetite and the hunger that we're showing, and that all the disappointments that's oozing out, in the wake of the loss of the 2023 World Cup final. We will have to use one of these two tournaments to make up for these disappointments, right? That's where the preparation is for. And to conclude my point, I'll just say this. I think Sahil made this point already. His story also says this. I remember the useless chatter that was going around, all the nonsense that was going around when Jasprit Bumrah was not playing cricket. I mean, there are people, some very well placed people who are like, this guy is never going to be the same bowler again. This guy is never going to make a comeback. I mean, it's never going to be the same thing for Boom again. अरे यार इसका एक्शन कभी ना कभी तो होना ही था ये, stress. So that even in terms of KL, and I if on this very platform we discussed when KL sat down at the start of the Asia Cup, was giving this BCCI कुछ तो गड़बड़ है, हमको नहीं पता but क्या है, कुछ तो है. So but so we like to BCCI. We like to criticize them whenever there is an opportunity, and rightly so. We must criticize them if the need be. But fair, going by the same benchmark, if something good is happening, we should give them credit also, no? Which is rare. As it is rare. But let us give them credit when they do something right. And I think in the case of Bumrah, KL, Shreyas, they have shown that the NCA is capable of doing good things. And that is why we have the faith that even in the case of Hardik Pandya, they are up to something good.
Yeah, exactly. Because we saw Bumrah, and everybody was saying that it seems that Bumrah was never out of action. And that was actually the case, because Bumrah was so good after all his recovery and rehabilitation. Same was the case with KL Rahul, Shreyas Iyer as well. But let us go back to the point that Taus raised in this live session. Taus, you questioned Sahil about, who will be the backup option for Hardik Pandya, or for that matter, any all-rounder that we should look forward to. What do you think? What Team India can do in this 6 matches? We have 6 T20s left. Now, we know, we have discussed here at length what will be Hardik Pandya's role ahead till the IPL, what he will be doing, so on and so forth. So, I believe there's no need of talking about Bumrah in this 6 matches, because we know that he won't be there. So, what do you think in this 6 matches? What should be Team India's goal? And if you see any of those all-rounders who should get a chance in this series, who they can be?
I don't see an all-rounder right now. I mean, apart from Hardik Pandya, and what Srinivai, whatever said, he has mostly cleared. But then, Srinivai, the thing is that we have never had a history of Bumrah, before Bumrah's or any bowler coming back strongly. Especially, we used to question how NCA used to conduct them. Now that's why the questions were raised. Now that Bumrah has come back, and then the kind of action he had, the unorthodox, the injury was quite possible. Lot of, thoughts aa jate hain. Can you hear me?
I'm unable to hear him. Is it me?
Yeah, we can hear him. I think your network.
Yeah, I think
Hello?
the network has dropped.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear us, Shrey?
Maybe the network is on my side or something. Is it me?
It's on.
Yes,
Could
yes.
well be,
Yes.
So the questions kept raising before that Bumrah. Before the Bumrah injury. But then once Bumrah came back, and the other guys, Shreyas and KL Rahul, I mean, these guys have done a commendable job here. I think they deserve all the
Yeah.
credit. But the Hardik Pandya issue keeps on rising because, I mean, of course, prone the history that he has had, but then how many matches he will get, whether he'll get fit for the IPL, like, or if he plays the 14 games continuously, or whether he'll be reserved for the last 6 games. How the BCCI allows, I mean, the effort that BCCI is putting, NCA is putting, I mean, it will be used by the particular franchise. So how they will use him that particular before the World Cup, whether they'll keep him fresh, whether they'll put all the pressure because he's a bowler, he's a batter as well as a bowler, somebody and an energetic fielder outside in the circle. So he will have a lot of pressure as an all rounder. As far as the other all rounders are concerned, I don't know. I don't find anybody right now. And by the way, Sahil, I want to take from that the age group wise. Right now, you may not find the other all rounders, but then it was Mumbai Indians who found out who unearthed this Hardik Pandya's talent. तो वो
Yeah.
जो आज बीसीसीआई यूज कर रहा है. So I think a lot they can take a lot of cue from the franchise which Srinivas has been saying over the time how they have been important. Then but BCCI has to go all out to find a not next Hardik Pandya but somebody or maybe make somebody into an Hardik Pandya. There are potential people here. There are guys who can do both. There are guys who can bat. They can go all out. They can be trained much better. Like how bowlers are usually like Shami came in as a raw bowler, but then Bharat Arun changed him completely and he became what he is right now. So you
Yeah.
can get those raw talents, work on them in NCAs, make them into a perfect all-rounder, which is like not possible. But then you need to have a bank of them, no? In the future. Srinivas is saying
Okay.
something.
So you're
I'll come.
saying that we really need to have options. Okay. Yes, Srini.
Couple of things here. Number one, he was talking about the NCA. Let me tell you this, and I've tracked this for a very very long time. I've tracked National Cricket Academy. Um, there was a time when NCA has been very good at what it does. There have been times when it has lagged in multiple different ways. There have been problems. At times when the coaching manuals and the level 3 coaches, level 2 coaches coming out of NCA, the courses that used to be offered to them. This I'm talking about many many years ago. Maybe we're not in sync with global standards as to what Center of Excellence Brisbane was doing, or what the England Cricket Board were put in place at the Loughborough University in UK. So NCA was lagging on many fronts, has at times lagged on many fronts. Then there are times when it has done really well. Like for example, I can tell you in 2006 7 when Dave Watmore came to head the NCA, and it was then that Bharat Arun had joined NCA first as a bowling coach under Dave Watmore. This was when Ravi Shastri used to be the chairman of the NCA, and this was just before he had quit, because he was asked to accompany the Indian team as a manager on the tour of Bangladesh, and Kapil Dev was given the chairman's role. Eventually, it had to be taken away from him because of ICL. Anyways, the point is, there have been phases in which NCA has done really good work, but the NCA has been a horrible place to win in certain occasions. I don't want to name people here, but I can tell you that there have been instances in the last 5, 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, where I know cricketers who have refused to go to the NCA. They said, we don't mind going to a local hospital. After IPL, what happened was that the player had more belief in the franchise he was playing for than the unknown doctor at NCA, who he was not seeing maybe for months and months at a stretch. So see, cricketers, any sports person, any top sports person is likely to be insecure when you ask him or her to open up in front of people they don't know, because it's their innermost secret that they have to share. Their life, their careers depend on these small things. A bit of information leaked here, used incorrectly, can do a lot of harm to the cricketer, to any sports person, right? So trust is a very important issue here, and I know for a longest time players lack trust. Where I give a lot of credit to the modern day setups in Indian cricket is the amount of trust it has managed to develop between what they do and the player. Okay,
Yeah.
so today, like I know, like I don't know whether you all remember this boy called Kamlesh Nagarkoti,
Yeah.
bowler.
Yeah.
Yeah. India
ये
under
Yeah.
19.
वो बेचारे ने इतना टाइम उसने एनसीए में निकाला है. आई रिमेम्बर टेलिंग समबडी, I said, even if I would have sent a stone to the NCA, they would have rehabilitated a stone. How can a boy, young boy, in his late teens, how can a young boy be sitting in an academy going through rehab for so long? Something is really not wrong or not correct, you know.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
anyway, so what I'm seeing now is that the NCA is a far more evolved organization, and in terms of how they are making a player feel welcome and making the player, encouraging the players to kind of open up, speak, which I think is a big step forward. So coming
Yeah.
back to what Taus was mentioning about the NCA and all, I think finally we are looking at good things that have happened, and I would like to believe that now is the time where we should keep our trust going.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely see VVS Lakshman. As it is, he's a very calm guy. He's a good listener. जब वो cricketer था, that time also, we all, I mean, I don't want to go with the Twitter generation. Somebody asked me last month, VVS ने क्या किया है? मैंने कहा छोड़ दे अभी. If I have to explain to you VVS ने क्या किया है, तो फिर हम बंद ही कर देते हैं ना, दुकान घर चलते हैं. Yeah, I mean, a guy like VVS Lakshman heading the NCA, kind of doing the kind of stuff that he's doing, people under him, who are picked and appointed at the NCA by the BCCI. We are seeing the results. So I'm willing to believe that good work is possible and good work is happening. Right. This was one of the points I wanted to
Yeah.
make. The other point was about uh, Hardik being that rare all-rounder, and why don't we have more players, or why can't we create more players
We
or
have a
more
bank of
creative?
all-rounders. Yeah.
इसमें ना, there is a very interesting point, and I can't take the credit for this. I mean, this was I was part of a conversation with some people where this topic had come up. So I can't name the people, but I can share what they were saying. And this was a very interesting point. टेस्ट क्रिकेट जो रेड बॉल प्लेयर जो है ना, उसको आप बना नहीं सकते. रेड बॉल प्लेयर बन के आता है. रेड बॉल
Yeah.
क्रिकेटर, like you is born to play cricket. If you are going to excel in रेड बॉल क्रिकेट, आपको 25 ओवर डालने हैं, 20 ओवर डालने हैं. वो उसमें ना, you can't encourage a part-time bowler to become a full-time bowler who can bowl 20 overs at the highest level. वो होता नहीं. But you can encourage somebody who understands a bit about bowling to try and see if he can bowl 4 overs more regular. Get the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a matter of habit. What I'm saying is, as cricket, the format of cricket tends to get shorter and shorter, and I am not the one here who's going to kind of stick my neck out and say that cricket will not get shorter than what it already is. I'm not going to be surprised if 10 years down the line we say by T20 is the future, because people's concentration, attention span is going less, smaller. It's getting lesser and lesser. Do I
Yeah.
agree with it? No, I don't. नहीं तो some jackass will like kind of he wants T10. No. Do I agree with? Maybe I don't. The point is, I'm saying in general, given the science behind what we are looking at, how things are likely to progress over the next 10, 15 years, or maybe sooner. So what I'm coming to is, while this happens and white ball cricket tends to get shorter, whether it's T20 or whatever, there is space available to curate the modern day T20 cricketer, to curate the modern day white ball cricketer, to curate a playing 11
Yeah.
that suits your requirements depending on the conditions that you're going to play in, what amount of cricket that you're going to play in, right? So that obviously, kind of, there is merit in that conversation, in that point that Taos brought up. They can, because in no other format you can do that. Even
Yeah.
if you use 2 wide balls in 50 over cricket, you still have to bowl 10 overs. And आप अगर ढंग के bowler नहीं हो, आप 10 ओवर नहीं खींच सकते. यानी, for example, you look at Yazuvendra Chahal. I really love that guy. Like, beautiful bowler, can flight the ball really well. Great asset in white ball cricket. But I don't really see him as an asset in 50 over cricket. I see him as an asset in
Mhm.
20 over cricket, because given his physique, and given his whatever, like, kind of strength levels, I just think that it's going to be a task for him to get through 10 overs against a quality side like Australia, South Africa, England, whatever, right?
Yeah.
T20 4 hours, understandable. Wahan pe you can go ahead and you can curate more such opportunities. If a Tilak Verma
Yes.
for Mumbai Indians has bowled part time but has shown some bit of talent, you can probably push him to take bowling a little more seriously. You
Yeah.
know, provided
Hmm.
the cricketer himself has a good understanding of his body, has a good understanding of what kind
Yeah.
of cricket he wants to play for. I'll give you the example of Albie Mokel. 2009
Hmm.
IPL was in South Africa. This was Centurion. I was standing next to him on the boundary line. We were just having a chat, and I asked Albie, what's happening to your red ball cricket? He's like, I don't know, man. Given the way my abilities are being tested here in the T20 format, I seem to be loving it. So I
Hmm.
said, "Are you going to continue playing this?" He said, "Yeah, I will. I don't mind playing this." He said, "You know what? You have to be at peace with yourself. Will If I were to play 100 T20 games, this is Albie Mokel telling me, if I were to play 100 T20 games, will anybody remember me saying, 'Oh, what a great guy, played 100 T20 international'? If I were to play 100
Yeah.
test matches, I will be remembered for eternity. Albie Mokel played
Right.
100 test matches, right? So players at that level, any level, a player
Hmm.
who's evolved in his mind knows the difference between what red ball cricket is, what white ball cricket is. You don't need to tell the player. The player has to take that call inside his mind and decide कि मुझे life में क्या करना है, you know. So it's more about. So there, I think
Yeah.
curating the modern day white ball cricketer, of course, has great potential going forward. You can't do that in red ball cricket. T20s you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. I want to take this
And
forward, Sri.
that's why Taos was talking about it.
Yeah, I want to take this forward. I mean,
Yeah,
it's.
Taos.
I was talking. I was just looking at the. I went to Cross Maidan today to watch a few games. You know what's happening on the field. Shield matches were happening. There were some guys who could bat and who could bowl. I believe जब आप एक stage पे गुजर जाते हो, if you are like over 18 or maybe somebody who are into 20s or 30s, it's difficult to change their mindset because they are fixed. They already players prepared to play at the highest level 20s में post 18. I think it starts from the grassroots, which is what BCCI should ask these state associations, state bodies, get some bowler, talented people who can bowl as well as bat. Somebody so that you can work from the grassroots, prepare them, उनको पका के भेजो BCCI top level पे, and it's all about intent. I think it's all about attitude. It's about like, for
And
example, I enjoy bowling. I'm an off spinner, but then I enjoy bowling. आज भी मैं डाल रहा था फास्ट बॉलिंग में मजा अंदर बाहर दोनों कर रहा था फास्ट बॉलिंग आउट स्विंग भी कर रहा था इन स्विंग भी कर रहा then I also enjoy batting. So being an off spinner, I prefer bowling with the new ball with white ball, by the way, white ball as well as batting. तो वो इंटेंट और वो इंटेंशन की बात होती है और कितना एंजॉय करते हैं आप फिर नेक्स्ट लेवल तो बात की बात है इट्स अबाउट हाउ यू स्टार्ट हाउ यू एंजॉय द गेम बाकी तो मतलब प्रिपरेशन यू मेक देम इनटू परफेक्ट डायमंड को कैसे पॉलिश करे वो एनसीए में आता है या फ्रेंचाइज क्रिकेट में आ जाता है वो उनके ऊपर है बट देन स्टार्ट फ्रॉम द बेसिक्स आई थिंक दिस इज वेयर दे शुड वर्क ऑन आज दी स्टेट बॉडीज गेट सम टैलेंटेड बंच प्रिपेयर फॉर द नेक्स्ट 10-15 years आपके हाथ में सब है फिर उसके बाद
Just
Okay.
adding to
Yeah.
what Taus Bhai was mentioning about this the role of the state associations. As much as we would want that to happen, we all know the way state associations operate in this country. It's not going to happen. They only wake up before the season, right? Now, just the all-rounders bit. No, last month or last to last month, I think NCA had a emerging all-rounder camp. VVS Lakshman himself oversaw that camp. He was supposed to go for an assignment where he did not. I think Sutanshu Kotak went with the India A side or the India side. I'm not sure what series that was. I think Ireland. I'm not sure. Lakshman stayed back at the NCA. he oversaw that camp. उस camp के अंदर I think the average
Okay.
age of the all-rounders was just 23, 24, 25. That's it. दिल्ली के 2-3 लड़के गए, चंडीगढ़ का राज अंगद बाबा हम सबने नाम सुना है, इंडिया अंडर 19 से, मैं उसके बारे में बात भी कर रहा हूँ. He was there. You know, a lot of budding. Arjun Tendulkar was part of that camp. So they are, you know, in the process of looking at seam bowling all-rounders. They are in the, you know, in the middle of kind of charting a way forward for them, have their workload management. But I think the problem lies is in the fact that, you know, there's a discord between the way BCCI operates and the state associations operate. पहले अगर आप वो टाइम याद करोगे ना, I clearly remember, you know, 4 years, 5 years before, 3 years before, I think, जब राहुल द्रविड़ NCA के अंदर थे, he used to call up DDCA people कि boss, there's a Ayush Badoni, take care of him, make him play at this number. There's a Web of Kantpal, उसको यहाँ खिलाओ. There's a Mayank Rawat, there's an off spinner in Ritik Shaukin, usko yahan khilao. That dialogue needs to be encouraged. You know, it has to flow right from top, from the NCA. State Association के भरोसे कुछ नहीं हो सकता. वो अपना रणजी ट्रॉफी टीम कंसिस्टेंट खिला ले, वही बहुत है. उनको वोट बैंक, सीटें, पासेस, टिकट, पूरा साल उनका उसमें निकल जाता है. They are not going to do anything for you. So where the onus lies on is on the NCA. And the second most crucial piece in this entire puzzle, which you will read tomorrow on CricketNext, we are precisely covering this same story, how the franchises now need to go to the grassroots. Franchises right now are scratching the surface with scouting. They need to go deep. They need to go the way football clubs go with their youth academies. अभी सब पैसे का दुकान बना हुआ है. हर franchise का academy is not addressing the big picture. The big picture is finding the next Hardik Pandya. That Hardik Pandya, if it is not there, you need to find someone who's close to being there and groom him for next 4 years and make him ready to, you know, face a 140 clicks bowler at the Wankhede Stadium under lights. That should be the long-term goal. And all stakeholders, including the NCA, BCCI, and the IPL franchises, need to work, you know, in the similar direction. Yes, the goals are different. IPL team का goal different है, BCCI का different है, but हम सब एक ही ecosystem का part है, right? So for that synergy is important. And very quickly, you know, I'll make that point, NCA का, where the trust went missing. Yes, it did. Last 6 महीने के अंदर I've spoken to numerous fast bowlers who have undergone rehab at the NCA. They are, you know, so impressed with what they are undergoing right now. I was speaking to Avesh Khan before he was picked up for the West Indies tour, if I'm not wrong. He was training with the Madhya Pradesh side in Indore. Whatever he was doing on a day-to-day basis during the off-season was shared with NCA team. रोज जो वो कर रहा था, उसका बीपीएम रेट, उसका हार्ट रेट, his recovery protocols, his diet protocols, everything was being shared with the NCA on a real-time basis. This I remember from a conversation with Ramji Srinivasan long time back when he spoke to me about 2011 World Cup team कैसे पागल थी फिटनेस को लेके. So पहले वो tournament to tournament होता था, but right now it has become a year-long exercise. तभी people are getting, you know, more trust while going back to the NCA, because look at the people who are there, boss. Nitin Patel, Rajnikant, these are gold standard people. Like Rajni, if you see him operate, I saw him do a loosening session with KL Rahul in Pune before the game against Bangladesh. KL Rahul for 45 minutes. जो श्रीनी ने भी skill based और recovery का difference बताया, वो मैंने देखा था अपने आंखों के सामने. 45 मिनट KL Rahul ने अपना back release work किया था. Like, we guys work out, so we know what a back release protocol is. 45 minutes, Rajni, a massage therapist, were with KL Rahul outside the nets, one corner, अच्छा हवा चल रहा था. All KL Rahul was doing was release work. वो बैटिंग का चिंता नहीं था उसको, बैटिंग तो हो रहा था, उसने अपना बॉडी का ध्यान रखा. And these are like gold standard people. You know, there's a DDCA physio who's from Assam, Nishant Bode, if I'm not spelling his name wrong, वो असम से है, वो दिल्ली के physio रहे हैं. I know what a talented you know, physio and guy he's part of the NCA core team now. So these people have been handpicked from different associations. I'm sure उसके ऊपर भी बहुत लोग गुस्सा खाए बैठे हैं, हमारा नाम नहीं आया, बहुत rant उस पे भी अलग चालू है, but that's for a different day. But there are people who know their job and there is continuity right now. पहले क्या होता था, एक फिजियो आता था, दूसरा जाता था, तो वो कभी होता ही नहीं था. प्लेयर ट्रस्ट कैसे करेगा ना? कितने जूनियर क्रिकेटर्स का मेरे को मालूम है करियर खत्म हुआ है एनसीए जाके, बिकॉज जब ये फिजियोस चेंज होते हैं, सपोर्ट स्टाफ चेंज होते हैं, तो प्लेयर का हिस्ट्री कोई अकाउंट में नहीं लेता. राइट नाउ देयर इज कंटिन्यूटी, देयर इज एक लॉन्जिविटी फैक्टर है वहां पर कि आपको पता है आपने नितिन पटेल के साथ डील करना है, and most of these cricketers have already interacted with Nitin Patel, and now BCCI has already done that. They are putting different Nitin Patels in every state association who work with one Nitin Patel. So they want like different head of medical sciences, just overseeing every state association. वो काम चालू है, थोड़ा वक्त लगेगा, बट सबको एक सिमिलर गोल पे अगर काम करेंगे हम लोग, तभी वो सारे टारगेट्स अचीव होंगे, तभी हार्दिक वापस आएंगे, तभी केएल वापस आएंगे. We can't work in isolation, we can't work in silos, we need to work as a team, and that is what NCA is trying to do right now.
And it's a
also,
great
I would
sign,
like to add,
Sahil.
Soumya, it would be unfair to pin hopes on a franchise to get unearth another Hardik Pandya because of that particular impact player rule. So that is
So
something I'm
that's
afraid
why
of.
Sahil
Crap
mentioned,
rule. That's a crap rule. मैं last season
Yeah.
से बोल रहा हूँ.
That is
That's
they won't
all
stress
crap
on
rule.
all-rounders. They will stress on specialized fast bowlers.
Yeah.
Specialized somebody who can do a 140. Then
specialized bowlers, batters.
Go to the grassroots level. And why would a franchise get an all-rounder, somebody who's so special, and immediately give it to BCCI and get in, and next season he won't be there in the IPL?
Yeah.
राहुल भाई इसका बेड़ा गर्क
Sahil,
IPL
let's
में नहीं
reserve
होगा.
that topic for.
1 second जस्ट, इसका बेड़ा गर्क आईपीएल में कम हो रहा है. आईपीएल के अंदर तो आप फिर यू विल फाइंड अ वे अराउंड एंड अकोमोडेट अ कैमरन ग्रीन और सैम करन उनको 17-18 करोड़ देके. प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है इसका स्टेट एसोसिएशंस के अंदर, where you are not playing a all-rounder in the 11, boss. अब कोई all-rounder खिला के राजी नहीं है. सबको पता है कि we can have a specialist opener and a frontline spinner. So why go with a bits and pieces cricketer, so to say? I think they should. अगर आईपीएल में आपको ऑप्टिक्स के लिए अच्छा लग रहा है कि it looks good कि अंपायर ऐसे करता है, जो भी वो समुराय बन जाता है इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर बनने के लिए, वो just keep it for the IPL.
Yeah.
Let the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy continue without the impact player rule. I think it's not doing any good in the IPL, in the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy. Let all-rounders kind of flourish there. Give them the platform. वहाँ बंद करो यार, वहाँ मत करो impact player.
Right. Well, actually, we'll talk about it in detail in some other episode, in some other live session. For now, we have time for just 2 questions in our rapid fire scheme of things. First up, we have a question from Vansh Kothari. Sahil, he's asking whether there's any update on Rishabh Pant's fitness or
Yes.
how's he been doing.
So we are in the process of arranging all the updates for you on Rishabh Pant. They will be in shortly. Very soon, hopefully before the first game of India and South Africa. We are trying to kind of arrange all the things in order. We don't want to like beat around the bush when it comes to Pant, but I can say with assurance and with a lot of authority that it will take a lot of time. People are kind of jumping the gun. Abhi log, I have read statements that Ganguly has gone on record and saying that he'll play in the IPL.
Yeah.
So it's no joke. It's no joke. Last year when we did the story that Pant is going to, there are some stories which you don't want to get right? And this was one of that. So when we wrote in January that Pant will miss the entire 2023 calendar, people trolled us, mocked us, called us names and stuff like that. But we are not being realistic right now. It's a knee injury for a player who's, on the bulkier side, is not on the way of even losing weight right now. It's difficult because there's no mobility with the knee yet. So if you want to lose weight, there's very little you can do with the diet. And he's slightly on the bulkier side. I wouldn't say he's not fit or he's like fat. I'm not fat shaming him. I'm just saying the way he's built. It will take time for him to kind of be that mobile and that agile. And for a wicket keeper, you have to squat like 200, 300 times during a game, boss. 20 overs, 120 balls, you're squatting up and down. So it's very difficult to kind of be at that kind of fitness for an international return. So it will take time. People are hopeful for the IPL, but we'll only be hopeful when we get the official word in. Right now, it's still a long way from home. He's still at the NCA with his good friend Prithvi Shaw, who's also undergoing treatment for a ACL grade 2 tier, if I'm not wrong. I only wrote that story. I'm forgetting whether it was grade 2 or grade 3. So even he's there recovering with Rishabh Pant. So both Delhi Capital boys are at the NCA right now, training, recovering, but still a long way from home.
Okay. Okay, hope once you got your answer. And the last question, very interesting question, Srini. Every day we get number of questions for you, and all the questions are same. Today also we'll be ending our live session with this fun question. Srini, now you have to tell. I think people have this idea कि आपके पास कोई तो inside information and you're not sharing it with them. Now you have to tell who's gonna lead India in World Cup.
यार गाली खिलाओगे. लॉजिक बोल रहा हूं मैं. I'm just using logic. If considering everybody is fit, everybody is in the peak fitness. अगर इंजरी होगी तो फिर तो कोई बात ही नहीं है ना. But considering everybody is fit, everybody fitness is peak, everybody is in great form, everybody is awesome. सब ध्यान में रखोगे तो आप एक बात बताओ. Who do you think you know, how many openers do we have in contention?
4, except Rohit. 4 except Rohit.
4 other than Rohit, there are 4,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, with all due respect, when did Rohit first play his T20 World Cup?
2007.
How old was he?
17 साल कम कर लो. 18, 17, 18, 19, 19, 20 का रहेगा. 20 का रहा होगा.
20 का. अब यशस्वी,
हाँ.
ईशान, ऋतु जिस उम्र में हैं, अब आप उनको अगर आज ये अगर रोहित शर्मा को 2007 में आप बोलते कि यार आप ओपन आप नहीं कर सकते, आप नहीं जा सकते हो यार, सचिन तेंदुलकर और सौरव गांगुली का तो बनता है ना जाना वर्ल्ड T20 में. तो आप 17 साल खेले हो यार, अब आप दूसरे को मौका दोगे कि नहीं दोगे? You give to give them a chance, right? You've had your this thing. What do you tell these youngsters, that you don't belong? Shubman, Ishan. So I don't see a place for Rohit. And if there's no place for Rohit, then where's the case of captaincy?
Then Rohit Pathak, I believe you have your answer. Who's gonna lead? Srini has very nicely answered it.
Then the situation was different. Then, these guys did not go because they had a bad 2007 World Cup. They had nothing to. They wanted a break. वहां पर situation अलग था. तब 2007 में these youngsters, Dhoni and all, they went ahead. यहाँ पर
not just that wasn't the only reason. Also, the reason was that at that time they thought it is a young man's sport. It's a mad sport. It's like andha hitting. Many people didn't see them cast in the same mold. I remember at that time, Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, and Anil Kumble took a backseat. Said this is not meant for us. One legend during that time said, "No, I want to go." He had to be convinced to stay back. But otherwise, more or less, everybody else.
But was it serious about T20 cricket then? Before they became champion, they bought the IPL in 2008. Today, it's a serious matter. BCCI takes.
I was coming to that.
As seriously, and the kind of
No, I was coming to that. So, wo time pe it was a case of mixed, thoughts leading to sending MS Dhoni as a captain in that team and everything. And yeah, I mean, even I agree with you. 2007 debacle also played a role because confidence in the existing setup was at an all-time low. So freshness was required in terms of whatever we did. That said, today in 17 years, hasn't the format evolved? The format has evolved by leaps and bounds, right? So if at that time, for lack of clarity, you could probably take a call that, in a format like this, you need to have some sort of freshness from time to time in order to pull off things. After 17, 18 years of having played this format, isn't it more and more visible and understandable that you need to kind of keep evolving in a space like this in order to kind of say, it's a very dynamic format. So agar aap economics padhe ho, if you're a student of economics, dynamism is nothing but kind of, what does it talk about? It talks about elasticity, where change is the only constant. The moment you don't change, you are not enabling the constant idea of doing something to the best of your abilities. So to keep doing something to the best of your abilities, you need to keep changing again and again and again. And that is what dynamism, that is what this format, as cricket gets shorter, as any sport rather for that matter gets shorter, the dynamics of the sport also change. And from that aspect, I'm saying ki it's not, I'm not saying, I'm not talking about today the importance of sending a Rutu, Ishan, Yashasvi. I'm saying by the time you complete the 2026 cycle, whatever success these guys have achieved or not, probably by then you will have 20 other T20 cricketers already in the flow. You need to respect where the new lot is coming from. You need to give them opportunities at the peak of their careers. This is not about legacy. वो आप टेस्ट क्रिकेट में बनाइए 100 टेस्ट मैच के लिए आपका उतना वैल्यू है. I said this, it's the same guy who raised the Rohit question. Can you give, I don't know what was the name of that guy, Rohit Pathak. To this Rohit Pathak, I'll say, I want a Rohit Sharma and a Virat Kohli to play test cricket for another 2 years. It is extremely important for India and for Indian batting that Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli continue to play red ball cricket. You've removed Cheteshwar Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane from the squad, and I'm telling you, let us land in South Africa. We will understand what we are missing. I'm not saying, have you found replacements? Have you been working on replacements? Have you been respecting red ball cricketers coming from the first class circuit? आप ये सब छोड़ के आपको यही पूछना है कि 15 साल से जो खेला है क्रिकेटर, 16 साल से क्रिकेटर खेला है, are we going to see him again? Are we going to see him again? So is it for our own debates that we are raising this point, or are we being logical here? Because if we are being logical here, let me end this with a very simple line. T20 cricket is not cricket as you knew it. The more and more you keep playing this format, 5 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later, you will understand that this is a completely different beast altogether, which has got nothing to do with the traditional form of the game that you've grown up playing or understanding. This is a very, very format and moment driven exercise where on that particular day, the swing of your bat, it's like gladiator. One swing of the bat, either you win or you're dead. That's about it. And you wake up the next day, go out there again, you are gladiator for another day until you fall. The moment you fall, somebody else comes, takes your place up. That's what it is. So it's entertainment. This is not cricket. You want to watch good cricket? Please go watch test cricket.
Yes. And we will continue this topic. Taus,
I just want to add, Shini bhai, I mean, before the World Cup, England and Australia, particularly England, they were supposed to come to India with that mindset of baseball cricket, where they would go all out from ball 1 till the ball 300 bowled. They would score some huge run, but then it turned out completely different. The wickets were different, and exactly what wickets are going to be different, exactly how they were in India. West Indies is going to serve similar kind of, because they are naturally slow and turners. I mean, can our youngsters adjust to that kind of situation, and can they play a similar kind of game on this wicket? I don't.
We'll have to do a proper
At least
show.
a
Full show.
yeah, exactly.
We'll have to do
on
a
this
show
topic
on this,
itself.
We'll have to do a full show on this. Baseball to care, I don't believe. I don't believe anything like baseball exists. I mean, media ko ghar jaake kuch likhna.
But really, let's reserve that topic for some other day, right? Let's reserve that topic for some other day, because it'll take us very long. Thank you so much, Srini, Sahil, and Taus, for joining with us, and thank you so much, everyone. You can shoot your questions to us in the comments section, or you can tag Sahil, Taus, and Srini on the respective Twitter handles, and they'll answer you there. Thank you so much, everyone.
Fastest cricket score updates या सबसे डिटेल्ड स्टैट्स,
क्रिकेट के अंदर बाहर की खबरें
या हेल्दी डिबेट्स,
सबसे एक्यूरेट एनालिसिस
या फैंस का क्रेज, सबके लिए एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म, क्योंकि क्रिकेट